Hey guys, Cole here. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. So we have the Deadwood Jedi faction games. They are officially over, and our team, the CSI team, me, Smiley TK, and Ivy League Gaming have won the competition against other content creators. You can go and check out a lot more details over on the Deadwood Jedi website, along with a lot of information about the games. Let's just go over there to the website right now. And we'll talk a little bit about the games, but also one part which I wanted to cover through a video, which was the factions that were not covered and my ideas of which would have been the best teams possible out of those factions after considering, let's say, 2 bans of specific champions for those factions. So getting started, let's just go over there to the website for Deadwood Jedi. By the way, we have won some gems to give away as gold winners, as the top placement winners. The Team CSI can give away 500 gems, a void shard, and then an epic book to lucky winners out there. I can give it to 5 people out there, but since I'm also a content creator, I can give away way more gems as well as content creator perks. So what I'll do is we'll pick actually 15 winners from you guys, the viewers of this video, to win gems. Some of you guys will win the epic books and void shards as well, and some of you will just win the gems. So 15 winners out of the comment section right now. So just comment Team CSI and then your unique number that you can find in game. Go here and just copy the unique number from your ID, comment on the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. That needs to be done in order for you to enter to the competition, and the 15 winners will be selected, and usually by the end of the month all those gems will be provided by Player, not by me. You'll see it pop up within the game when and if you've won, and I'll also try maybe and comment as a reply on your comments as well, so you guys know and expect those gems as well. So let's get started. So very quickly, the faction games, how it was 3 teams: CSI, Scrunobest, and Goat Squad. It was Hell Hades, Lila Fox, MTG Jedi, and Scratch, YST, and Nubcakes against, as I said, the Team CSI. We won. There were a selection of 9 different factions by a draft pick. So when one faction was selected, then another one, then another one, then another one for each team member. All of the videos of how everything went, you can go over and see it right here on the Deadwood Jedi website from Deadwood himself, covering it, the live videos, as well as some pre-game videos with each of the contestants, and as well on each and every one's YouTube channels there's some videos covering the whole thing. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Lots of content for you to go through if you got some downtime, you don't know what to watch. This is definitely exciting, especially if you also want to learn a little bit more about the game at the same time. This is the way to go. These kind of things are the way to go for the more mid to end game players. The new players will not understand what we are doing, to be honest, because you're using just one faction, you're using end game gear. You really are not trying to teach someone on how to play the game. You're really all about using that faction the best way possible, and that's what I wanted to cover also with this video. Is since 9 factions were selected, there were some factions that were left behind. An example of those factions is the Bannerlords, the Barbarians, the Ogryn Tribes, the Lizardmen, and the Skinwalkers. There's 14 factions within Raid. We had to pick 9, and those 4, the Gallant Pact was really the one that suffered the most. And I'll cover what I think were maybe the best champions that could have been used instead of some other faction. And I think I'll start with the Bannerlord since it's the first one here. Just looking at the overall power of the legendary champions, you can see some very good support type champions, but no real nukers that can really provide that big damage that you're looking for. We have maybe Septimus, who is a great single target nuker with his A1 skill and A2 skill that does damage based on enemy max HP, but he would have probably been the target of a ban. The same thing with Richtov. These 2 champions would have been the MVPs of the team, maybe Baron as well, but he is more of a I would say RNG type champion, and maybe you can use his A1 to get some kills and get some good numbers out of him to be able to clear the runs very fast. But again, Sky Piercer is not a guaranteed proc to do, and that's his big AoE that he does, which it does pure damage, which I wonder maybe he would have not been the ban just because of that reason compared to everything else. And then in terms of the epics, the Bannerlords do have some good support epics. Again, Archmage Helmut and Stag Knight. I think this faction would have done really well probably for Ice Golem because of Richthof. If he wasn't banned, they would have probably done very well for Dragon as well, even though the Dragon is magic affinity, if I remember correctly, for Dragon 20. I think he would have still done great in there. I don't think this team could be built in a way that you can do the one shot with Septimus. Maybe if you made him fast enough, you could do something with refresh accessories and get him to do this the spider in 2 hits instead of the 1. But still, I think it would have been a pretty crazy team to have. And just considering the bans that were possible, Septimus would have probably been the ban to do for this faction. Then looking at the other one next, Barbarians. I think Barbarians were a good faction as well, but again, really dependent on who would get the ban. I would think that Turvold would get the ban here, and probably considering everything and how everything could go, probably Seal instead of Valkyrie would have got the ban. But overall, this faction lacks the AoE damage that other factions have. You've got Firekin that gives a lot of buffs, but the AoE damage potential is not there really for this faction. I might be missing something, and I want to see some of you guys in the comments sharing your thoughts as well. But overall, in terms of bans, Turvold would have been the #1 ban. I don't know about Yarkarl and his power after his buff. He does have an AoE attack, but I still don't think it would have been enough for him to be selected over somebody else in terms of AoE potential and what could be done there for the faction for it to push. Again, this faction could have been used for, let's say, the Ice Golem. I don't think Hydra so much. Maybe with Elder Skarg, who does have an HP burn ability, maybe that could have done something. But again, not so much for the Spider. For Hydra, maybe with Valkyrie you could get some good damage going if you had to Hanarak as well. Good potential of a team surviving long turns with the counterattacks and everything, but you have to remember of the complexity of the Hydra, the potential there to be like just a really bad run. So overall, again, that's why this faction was not picked, and I don't think it would have done so well compared to all the other factions that we had a showing off. And then going down the list, it's got Ogryn Tribes. I think this one, the potential bans that would have come out from this one would have been Bigun and probably Ignatius, just to lock out the potential of this team. Bigun for the wave clear, and then Ignatius again for both the wave clear and also the Spider 20 team that could have been done with him because of the unresistible HP burn. That would have made the things very easy to do. You've got Ugo there as well for the Hydra. So if Ignatius wasn't banned, then Ugo would have probably be banned, and that would lock out the possibility for this team, for this faction to do so well in other areas, because you lose out on the defense down. I'm not sure if there are any other defense down champions from these. I haven't gone through them all to remember, especially Claude and some of the other ones. I can't remember all of their skills, but I'm definite that they wouldn't have the power that especially Big Gun has in terms of damage potential. The team would have been lacking that part. Then going over to Lizardmen, again, here the definite bans would have been Dracomorph, I would say, and Krisk. Dracomorph for the Dragon 20, and even Ice Golem 20. Even he could have even been used maybe for Fire Knight 20, even if it's Force Affinity. He still does have a multi-hit skill. He does have a good AoE weaken and defense down, which doesn't really matter because it's a place debuff, it's not an attack, so he could apply those, and then some other champion could have done the big hit. And then Krisk, of course, would have got the ban because of the Hydra potential and making this like a huge faction for the Hydra. I think without the bans, if we just didn't have any bans, I think this faction would have been selected over some other faction. But also, to be fair, this faction is missing a few champions, so it does have a very low amount of champions with 40. Comparing it to other factions, the choices are very narrow, and between what you have available and what you can use, it's really all about Dracomorph, maybe Ramantu, Krisk, Shagger. If you got him, Fushan is good for damage. Then if you go down the list with the epics, Basilisk is good as well for the damage potential. But other than that, it's really heavy on the defensive. And then finally for Skinwalkers, we have the faction that I would think could have done the best out of the 5. And not just because of the showcase from Deadwood. I think even with bans on Leorius and Tumisia to lock out the spider potential and the arena potential, I still think you could have seen fast clear times with Cleopteryx there and Ragash, even Coronar there with a damage build. These 3 together could have done some solid work. What you would then also need though is a defense down, and that's where Ragash comes in. Ragash would have done the defense down. Cleopteryx for the clear, Coronar the same thing as well. You got Brachus for very strong single target, Longbeard for ally attacks, and then if you look at the epics, you've even got Taurus there for big amount of poisons. You've got Fane, you got stuff like I think Scarvius also is very good in terms of poisons. You got Steel Skull for support. You could even build a Hydra team out of this faction, to be honest, although I don't think it would have been the best one available, but because of Steel Skull, you could have a good healer in there. You even have the attack down from Fane, although she is very weak in terms of defense. You still have a good amount of champions that could do something compared to all the other 5 that were not selected. I think Skinwalkers, even with the bans, could have been better than I would say probably Orcs, but who knows. We don't really have access to the test server anymore for this rotation, so we can't go back in and test all the other teams. That's something that I would have wanted to do. It's just that we only had a couple of days after the competition was over to actually just record a video and do something, and honestly it's really hard to build those teams in a very short amount of time. So this was the video, guys. Again, go check out the website. There's a lot of detailed information in there. Even though you know the final winners, just looking at it and hearing every single content creator and their thought process when building those teams really helps you understand a little bit more about the game. And if it's something that you do want to do and learn more about the game, then these kind of competitions are what you should be looking at to watch, especially as a mid to you know, looking to get into the end game or late game or whatever you want to call it. So again, I'm going to be doing lots of giveaways, so remember, put Team CSI in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and copy paste from the info tab here your unique code. That is definitely needed for you to win one of the gem rewards that we can give out as content creators, but also the gem rewards from the Team CSI winning. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.